Aliasing. I have become obsessed with aliasing. The best way I can describe aliasing, this is Ringo, is, the most succinct way that I can describe aliasing is that, like, picture digital audio is a box. It's a square, it's a box, digital audio is contained inside the box. When sounds get a little too hot, a little too loud, or a little too high, or a little too something, they bounce off the top of that box and shoot back down into the audible spectrum where you can hear things. It's kind of like a body of water, and the scene in front of you is reflecting in the water, only the water is upside down. I think the best way to explain aliasing is maybe just to show you in the computer. Okay, so let's first get a control. Tone generator, it's a sine wave, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Sounds like this. Very exciting, and then it comes down. So let's bounce that out. Go. It's not glamorous, and a more better built sine sweep thing would not have all the janky stuff. But you can see it's very clean, straight line. It goes up, it goes down. Cool, as we would expect. So, the best way to sort of invoke aliasing is to use something like a clipper. FabFilter Pro L2. In clipper settings, I nicknamed it Flatline because one day I decided to see if I could perfectly null test the plugin Flatline with Pro L2, and these are the settings that do it. Let's do like 2 dB worth, I guess. And you can hear it's a bit more complex than a sine wave now. And up there, where we couldn't hear anything before, and it's actually doing some weird stuff. Okay, so let's bounce this out and see what this looks like. Howdy, neighbor. So that's aliasing. When things go up over 0, things start bouncing off of the roof of your in the box and start bouncing back down into the audible range of hearing. Okay, so the philosophical question is, should we avoid this? Which I think is a topic for another day. But the question, can we avoid this, is something we can definitely tackle in this video. This one's interesting. This one's kind of cool. 20,000 hertz to 24,000 hertz. Over and over and over and over again. Now, if you're human, you cannot hear this sound. If you're human and you can hear this sound, you're a liar. You can see on the FabFilter Pro Q3 graph that it is indeed playing. It is indeed loud. It is peaking at -1, and the RMS is a constant -1.1. But you can't hear anything because you're human. That's okay. It's okay to be human. I've put a couple of my favorite plugins here just to sort of test and show you what's going on. Here's back to our FabFilter Pro L2 clipper. 2 ways I can do this. I could just take the gain and turn it up, and wow, now you can hear that. And another way I can do this is I can use Gain Match, which is a super cool plugin. I put one at the beginning, I put one at the end. I've tied them together so that as you crank the input, it lowers the output, or as you lower the input, it cranks the output, so that you can essentially push more or less headroom into your plugin chain. I like it. It's cool. It does other things too. It's totally worth every penny. Hitting play, so now things are moving up and down. Crank some gain. Wow, that is icky. Okay, so even though you can't hear this, can't hear what's going on there, as soon as you add some gain, you can hear the side effects. You can hear the aliasing of those frequencies. Let's render this and show you what it looks like visually. Cool pattern. Okay, so that's what we're getting. This big bright line in the middle, that is the original tone, 20K to 24K, and everything else you see shouldn't be there. Well, back to the philosophical thing, it maybe it should if you want it to be there, but it's aliasing. All the other stuff other than this line in the center here is aliasing. And in this particular case, it's not pretty aliasing. There is a way to remedy this. It is called oversampling. Here is our icky aliasing with the clipper, and if we go into oversampling, we do 2x, now it's only half as bad, 4x, and it's going away, and 16x. Well, now it's nearly gone, but we have a different problem. My computer is running out of juice because it's also screen recording and it has RX open and blah, blah, blah. Let's also look at Pro L2 Modern. Did you hear that? That was interesting. As soon as I turned it on, you heard a little bit of aliasing. As soon as I turned it off, aliasing went away. That is just the behavior of the modern style in FabFilter. It's sort of constantly reevaluating the audio. So without oversampling on, you will get some aliasing at the beginning of transients. If I play this, I turn her up, you see how I added gain and then it went away? Like it started, but then it went away. It figures out where the level is and then it sort of compensates and figures out what to do. Very cool, FabFilter, very cool. How about Saturn? Saturn, well, you can already see it and hear it a little bit, and give it a little bit more gain, and it becomes much more apparent that aliasing is a thing that happens here. Notice this is subtle tube. Watch clean tube. Oh my goodness. How about tape, subtle tape? Less, but still there. We're talking about 29 decibels above digital zero though, so let's be more respectable here. Like 6 dB above digital zero. Okay, 6 dB above digital zero. You're not, it can handle that. Good. Clean tape though? No, not good. But fortunately, FabFilter has built in a beautiful anti-aliasing solution. So if I flip this to Superb, by and large, the aliasing is gone. You can see it a little bit there, all the way down at what, minus 85 decibels. You're not gonna notice that. Now onto one that I really don't like. This actually, after doing this test the first time, made me stop using this plugin because of how bad the aliasing is, and because you can't do anything about it. There's no oversampling options or anything like that in the Oxford Inflator. Wow. So even at 0, if I put any of the effect in, we are already aliasing. And if I do just slightly over 0, we have a serious problem, and there's no way to remedy that. Ozone Maximizer. This one is exciting. Okay, this one will take you on a journey. IRC low latency mode. 5 dB above 0. Okay, right, we're pushing, as you would with a maximizer, you're pushing a lot of signal in, and it's doing a lot of stuff. Notice the character is 0.0. If I crank this up to 2, even in low latency mode, no aliasing. But, you know, it always sounds more exciting. Closer to 0 you get. Same thing with 1, same thing with 2, and again, if you pop the character up to 2, you're fine. IRC 3. At 0. My computer's having trouble, but you can see visually we're not really having any aliasing problems. How about on balanced? No aliasing problems. I mean, it looks a little hairy, but it's fine. Crisp, some aliasing. Clipping, some aliasing. Okay. IRC 4. Classic, aliases. Modern, aliases, and transient, no aliasing. Vintage limiter. No aliasing. Seems like they know what they're doing over at Isotope. Here's another plugin that I just like totally gave up using because of its bad aliasing. SPL Iron. Here's a brand new one from Plugin Alliance. The Soma EQ does totally good at 0.0. You push a lot of level into it, you're fine. But you do want to be careful with your headroom. If you turn your headroom all the way down, there's your aliasing. So there is a point with this Soma where you can get it to alias. Amic EQ, probably my favorite digital EQ that's like a color EQ. Seems okay. This one doesn't have a headroom button, but gain match is a headroom button, so I crank into it more and more and more. I can crank 23 decibels into it, no problem. About 28 decibels above digital 0, you run into aliasing issues. I don't think you're going to push the Amic 28 decibels over digital 0 for any good reason, unless you're trying to break it like I am right now. UAD Pultec. Okay, there you go. So around 25 decibels above digital 0, the aliasing filter breaks. And when are you ever actually going to push this 25 decibels above digital 0? You're good. So that UAD, just fine. However, the LA2A, 2.5 decibels above digital 0, you're aliasing. That's not good. So you have an idea now of what to look out for, I guess, what kind of the sound of aliasing is. The next example I kind of wanted to show you here was what happens if you take that little sine sweep thing that you can't hear but is there and actually layer it over a song and then start processing the song. Okay, so here's the song as is. It's lovely. It's nice. Let's master it like a standard song. We're going to put some L2 modern gain here. Great. Feels nice. Nice and dynamic. Fairly well balanced. Mouse battery's low. Thanks. And here comes the sine wave that is going to destroy the planet. Interesting. Okay, so notice one, modern mode is reacting to the RMS value of the song, maybe the LES value of the song or something, but it's intelligently adapting itself to the fact that there is a -1 RMS tone going on at 20,000 hertz. But you can hear how when a transient hits in the song, you actually hear a little bit of that aliasing peek through, right? And of course the whole RMS of the song comes down. If I mute this, we get so much more volume. Okay, that's the modern thing at work. Oxford inflator. We can do the same thing. Give it like, I don't know, 12 dB, 10 dB. Feels good. 9.5. Okay, that feels good. And here's the sine wave. Whoa. Clearly, that's going to be a problem if you're trying to master this song with the Oxford inflator, right? Nobody wants that. Throw iron in the equation, totally off, no good. Saturn, of course, on not high quality mode. Okay, so what can we do, like, realistically to solve this thing? Well, one thing we can do is we can turn high quality mode on. That's going to help with the anti-aliasing. We can avoid things like the LA2A from UAD and the SPL iron from Plugin Alliance that just alias no matter what. We're not going to use the inflator, of course. We can use the modern because it does cool stuff. Let's oversample it up a little bit so that some nice things are going on. And of course, why don't we add our own little anti-aliasing? Why don't we add our own little anti-aliasing filter in the form of a low pass at the top, 96 dB per octave, 19 kilohertz. Almost there. A little finessing. How about that? How about right there? We just got full volume on this song back. No aliasing. You can still see that there's some icky stuff going on up there, but you're not hearing it. we have effectively solved the aliasing issue of this song. So maybe we can get a little bit into the philosophical here, answering the question, should we be concerned about aliasing? Because here's the thing, every time a mastering engineer says that they're clipping their converters, they are causing aliasing. Every time that turns red, you're overloading the anti-aliasing filter in whatever converter you're using. So if a mastering engineer told you, well, try clipping your converters, and you did, and you liked that sound, objectively, you like the sound of aliasing. In the analog world, if you want to clip without aliasing, you'd have to use an analog clipper. Something like the Manly Slam here that has a clip mode. Boxes like that Slam are going to clip the same way that the FabFilter Pro L2 clips when you use X16 oversampling. You'll get a lovely row of odd harmonics and absolutely no aliasing tucking stuff underneath what you're intending to do. But is that actually a sound that you want, or is it the other way around? Do you want that other stuff underneath? I don't know. Honestly, I don't think there is a correct answer. I think just being aware that aliasing is a thing, and if something doesn't quite sound right and you're not sure why, maybe it is the cause. So take this information, do with it what you will. I have a dog who has a birthday, and in this house, when a dog has a birthday, they get a steak. Do you know what day it is, Papa? It's steak day. Yeah, it's your birthday. No, 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 yes. Some for the chef. Tito! Hey! You want a preview of what's to come? You want a preview? Oh. There we go. You get steak too. You get steak on birthdays. You get steak on birthdays. Oh, good boy. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Tito the dog. It's your birthday, Mr. Tito. So have yourself some boof.
There you go.
Good job, Tito. Good boy. Wait, Ringo, did you finish already? Oh my goodness. Good job, Tito. Happy birthday.